Hello everybody, this is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. I want to do an introduction to the Home Bible College. We've done a number of introductions over the years, but as time has gone on and the college has developed further, so it's become necessary to give you an update and also to tell you more about the increased features of the Home Bible College. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Stephen Pugh, and I'm the president and the founder of the Home Bible College. The Home Bible College is something that was a slow development of vision over very many years. Even as a young person, I was involved in helping to write an outline of daily Bible readings, which my church at the time used for their personal devotions, and this ran for quite a number of years, and I followed along myself and got huge benefit from that. But in latter years, probably something like I think it would be about 12 years ago now, that I began to think in terms of producing studies on the Bible in such a way that people would be able to work at home, in their home. They wouldn't have to go to a college campus, but they'd be able to do some sort of a Bible course. They could have it in a small booklet form. And of course, when the early days began, we tended to use what I would call the life of Christ as the basic study material. So the students would go right through the life of Christ over, say, a period of about a year, and they got huge benefit from that. And in fact, some of my very earliest students talked about how much they'd been blessed by just spending a few moments every day just reading a little and answering for themselves a few basic questions on the passage. So this was like we were in a learning curve at this stage, and I was learning very much. I was also learning at that stage to handle large parts of the Bible on my computer, whereby I would have to sort out the whole of the Gospels and figure out how this could be turned into a study. And then, of course, eventually the Home Bible College took to the net, and there was a time in the early days of Facebook in which we would have quite a lot of people meeting with me every single day, and every single day we would meet together online, usually at about 7 o'clock in the evening, that is in British time, and people would come for about an hour and we'd talk and talk and talk. And this was an international thing, so people from all over the world were gathering, and that's how we ran the Home Bible College for about a year. Of course, that was very exhausting, doing an hour every day like that. For me it was, but it was a great experience for those that joined us. Now, the current outline of the Home Bible College is now like this. The first year students cover the whole of the Bible from Matthew chapter 1 to Revelation chapter 22, and they do that between January the 1st and December the 31st. So every single day of the year we will have a small passage, usually a small passage, and we will have some questions to stimulate our brain's grey cells, and also some questions that would cause us to then be able to interact on the internet and to be able to have conversation about what we were learning. What was very interesting for me is that there were large numbers of people that wanted to come forward and follow along with us. I mean, we had one lady, for example, who's contacted me about a question, and she said to me, "Oh, I've been following the Home Bible College for years, and I've been using, I'm a grandmother," she said, "and I've been using it for my grandchildren. I homeschooled them, and that has been my syllabus for a number of years." So this for me has been very interesting. Of course, it took quite a long time to put all this together. I soon realized that some of the guys in some far distant places didn't have access to good Bible teaching. And so the challenge then was, as well as setting up this framework for study, would it be possible every day to write a small commentary on the passage, to give the teaching which would enable people then to understand what they're reading. And that was a massive challenge. And that took me about a year to write. It also took me another year to make all the corrections and to proofread it and so on. The effect of that for me was that I very, very, very much grew up. In fact, I would take the Home Bible College to be my education. Of course, I was very experienced in the Word before that, but certainly the Home Bible College was something that enabled me as an individual to grow. The next question is, would I be able to tackle the Old Testament and have another year of study? And that, of course, was something which appeared to me to be completely huge, a massive task, far beyond my reach. But that's something which I set about to do. And for a whole year, something like about an hour every day had to be dedicated to the writing of the commentary on every passage. The next question that came up is, well, would it be possible, as the internet was changing and as YouTube was becoming online more, would it be possible to do a small podcast, a little mini commentary on the passage every day? Okay, now in the early days, we were very much experimenting. We didn't have good cameras. We had poor lighting, but we were able to do this. And we did the New Testament first, and then we did the Old Testament after that. Now, some of the students, as we were going through it, were saying, well, this is great. I've learned so much. It's all for free. It's all through Facebook. Can I have the notes in my hand in a book form? And the answer is yes, of course. So I would go to my publisher online, an online publisher, and I would be able to publish the studies for the month. And various students would buy the studies for the month to enable them to be able to have it in their hand and to write their notes down. Some students would send in their notes in paper form. Other people would send their notes to me in electronic form, and some people would just send me an email. You see, different ways of sending it. And of course, each time a student completed a year of study, I then would issue a certificate. And of course, it was very difficult to keep up to date with all of those things, but we're getting more and more used to these things as time goes by. The next question is, what would we do for a third year? And it was very obvious to me that what we really needed to do, having had an overall view of the whole of the New Testament and the Old Testament, would it be possible to do monthly studies that were a little bit varied? So, for example, now in the third year, every single month, the students of the third year study a biblical character. It might be Abraham or Moses or whatever. They would also take on a small subject, a theological subject. It might be the deity of Christ, it might be salvation, or whatever the subject might be. And also in that month, they would also study the life of a Christian of history. This was going to fill out the Christian's experience. Of course, the third year students suddenly discovered that the first year students and the second year students, they were still running with their course. So they were able then to go back into the studies with the first year students and share their knowledge and their experience and encourage them in the Lord. The next question is, what would you do for the fourth year students? Because of course people are always moving on and moving forward. And the answer was, I would construct a sort of a series of studies whereby they would be able to do an essay every month on key Bible or Christian themes. So at the moment, the current plan is the New Testament in the first year, the Old Testament in the second year, biblical characters, theology and Christians in the third year, and the fourth year, a series of monthly essays. Okay, so now the students were moving on, and some were coming to the end of the fourth year and beginning to look around and say, well, that was great, but what do I do now? I'm really thoroughly involved in being a student now of the Home Bible College. What else can I do? So what we developed then was another Facebook site in which people could go to for what I call extension studies. Now, in the extension studies, there could be a multiplicity of things. There would be videos that I thought would be really helpful for people. There would be a series of teaching on a particular theme. And over the years, we've used all sorts of studies in the extension studies part of the Home Bible College. We have a group on Facebook called Dispensational Truth, because we're dispensationalists and we understand what that means, and we would like to promote that in the world. And therefore we had to have a group where we could talk about dispensational issues and how they're important for us to understand. Now, it then became a matter of interest for me to resurrect the concept of the life of Christ again. And so over the last 2-3 years, I've been taking the old life of Christ studies and revamping them and making them available as extension studies. So we have a group dedicated to the life of Christ. We have another group which is dedicated to the life of the Apostle Paul, dealing not only with his life but all of his letters in their historical context. That's been a fascinating study for me. And lastly, we have another extension group called the Life of the Hebrew Prophets. And this is going to be taking the teaching and the life of the Hebrew prophets and their literature from the Old Testament, running right through up to John the Baptist, and then on into the work of the apostles, and then on into the latter part of the New Testament, which also I would say is the message of the Hebrew prophets. So this is going to be a background dealing with all of those covenant people, not church people, but all of those covenant people who are in relationship with God, either under the Mosaic law or under the law of Noah and the other covenants. So that's the life of the Hebrew prophets. Now, as time went by, and as I have completed various projects, as I completed, for example, all the videos that cover the New Testament and all the videos that cover the Old Testament. So now, for example, it's possible to go to Facebook, go to YouTube, and just type in Stephen Pugh and the date, whatever date you want, or whatever passage you want. For example, John chapter 6, or you could say June the 3rd, okay, and immediately would pop up the video, which will just have a little explanation of what the passage is all about. One of the features that I think is very important is that all through my life, because of an evangelist that I was led to the Lord by many years ago, I've had this concept of the password, and every day as students of the Home Bible College, we dig into the Word and we find a phrase or a verse or something that we can take with us into the day and share with other people. Something that means something to us, something that's a message that we can carry. And so that's something which we do as well. So that's the outline of the Home Bible College currently and the extension studies. But then there came a point in which we wanted to put a few additional features in. We wanted to do videos, 44 videos for the Year 1 students of the Home Bible College. And the subject there would be the Christian in all the Christian's various features, and also later in the year on the subject of evangelism. So being a Christian and being an evangelist for the Lord is really the subject of the lectures for the first year students. Now, the second year students who are really getting into the Bible quite seriously, what we did is we began a series of 44 videos which cover an explanation and an outline of every book of the Bible. That's very important for the second year students. The third year students, they have a series of 44 videos on basic themes of theology. And what I did there is I took my statement of faith and turned it into 44 lectures for the students there. And then the fourth year studies are really studies in being a Christian minister in various ways. Now, you might be a Sunday school teacher, you might be a pastor, you might be a church leader, you might be an evangelist, you might be a church planter, You might be a person that visits people in hospital. You know, your ministry could be a multiplicity of things, but we wanted to produce a series of 44 lectures on the various aspects of serving the Lord in ministry. So we call it the minister. So the other thing that we want to point out to you is that this is not purely for the benefit of just learning knowledge. It's not just that you'll be stuffed with intelligence, that you'll just know a lot of things. We really have emphasized over the years that the Home Bible College is about godliness. It's about holy living. It's about a life that is an example in the community, in the family, in the marriage, and in the home. This is where we really feel that the Home Bible College can score. So you don't need to go to a theological seminary. You can get a very, very good, rich theological and biblical training through the internet like this. The other thing that we wanted to just share with people, it's possible for people to work with the Home Bible College in such a way that they have a home group. You might have a home group meeting once a week, and what you would do is you would review the things that you've been learning that week, and then you would actually do one of the studies together. And over the time, you could also, if you had the ability to do so, you could flip the video onto a TV and you could watch it together and then pray about it and talk about it and be educated in your home. The other thing we wanted to share with you is the concept of development. We believe that the first year students need to concentrate on the first year. That's fine. However, when they move into the second year, that doesn't mean to say they never ever refer back to the first year. We never really get away from reading the New Testament. So what students do is they stay focused on their year, but they also become assistants helping a group that's in the first year. Okay, and then when they then move into the third year, which is all the various things that we are doing, the next thing that they do is they are learning in the third year all what they're learning, but they take an interest in helping to assist people who are studying in the second year, and they might also become a leader of people who are in the first year. Do you see the point? And then, of course, as students move into the fourth year, they then will be studying the various things that they're doing, but they will be assisting in the third year. They will be helping to lead a second year course, and they'll be helping to lead a first year course as well. So this is a training program that enables people to move forward in their experience for the Lord. And then, of course, those who are in the extension studies, well, they just continue to learn and learn and learn. And this is what we really feel the Home Bible College is about. Not about filling you with knowledge, although it'll do that. It'll do that to a very great degree. It's about teaching you godliness. It's about teaching you how to pray, teaching you evangelism, teaching you about serving the Lord. And it's also about helping groups to develop in your own home. That's what the Home Bible College is all about. Now then, this is where we are currently. We don't know what the Lord has for the future. We know who holds the future, but we don't know what the future is. But we'd like to think that this is something that will be ongoing. And this is something that we would like to develop in small communities in our localities. That's what we'd like to really do. And that's what we want to be helping people to do. Our flag is a blue flag with a white background, which of course is what is known in the maritime community as the Blue Peter. And that flag, it actually means this. It means we are about to set out on a very interesting journey of discovery. So get on board. That's what the Blue Peter sign means. It means get on board with us. Come and study with us. You will find that there's hundreds and hundreds of people all over the world, all looking at the same passages today, all reading the same Bible, and all with the same overall questions. Now then, how can we learn from one another, and how can we grow together? That's the vision of the Home Bible College. And remember what our motto is: not by might or by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Well, God bless you. We look forward to hearing from you. We look forward to you being online with us. And God bless you all. Bye for now.